All right, everybody, welcome back. This is gonna be a movie review, as you can probably tell by the title. Normally, I would do the movie review just be me, because most of the rest of my family doesn't typically have strong opinions about movies. This time, I'm including my son Patrick because this time he did, and I'm gonna get into that a little bit. So we generally go to movies that either I want to see really bad or that we all want to see really bad. So we went to see Spider-Man No Way Home. Oh, and before I go even any further, this will have spoilers. I don't know if we're going to have major spoilers or minor spoilers, but there will be spoilers in this review. We're not even going to try to do a spoiler-free review. So anyway, we went to see Spider-Man No Way Home the Wednesday before Christmas. Yeah, so like 2 days before Christmas, or Christmas was on a
Friday.
Saturday Saturday this year. Christmas Eve was on a Friday.
Ah.
Christmas Day was on a Saturday, so like 3 days before Christmas, we went to see Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, before we went to see it, I started seeing things on Twitter, like people were starting to talk about how Andrew Garfield needed to have a third movie in his Spider-Man, well, in his lack of trilogy. And I didn't really understand where this was coming from. I mean, I knew that he was in Spider-Man, or everybody pretty much knew. I know he was denying it, but we pretty much knew that he was going to be in there, but I didn't know where this was coming from. And I'm going to skip a little bit here, but after we watched Spider-Man No Way Home, at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, when the credits started to roll, I didn't do this during the movie, but as soon as the credits started to roll, I posted on Facebook and on Twitter, best Spider-Man movie ever. Okay, that's how much I loved this movie. I'm gonna stop doing this with my hands. I think it's making our camera not be able to focus. But that's how much I love this movie. And I also, at that point, I understood this big push to have Andrew Garfield get his third Spider-Man movie. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. I like the Tom Holland Spider-Man. I like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, not as much as a Tom Holland, but I like him. I didn't like Andrew Garfield as I've honestly never seen the Amazing Spider-Man movies. So maybe I'm just kind of talking out of my butt. But I didn't really like the look of him, and I read bad things about him back then. And I mean, does he deserve a third? Yeah, let's have Sony give him a third movie, and I think now it'll be a successful movie after No Way Home. But enough about that. Let's talk about. So we watched the post credit scenes, and then we came out of the theater. And I do this every time. We come out of the theater, and I always want to talk about the movie. Especially one that I was excited to see. I want to talk about it. So I asked my son, his name's Patrick. I asked him, I'm like, what do you think about it? For the first time, this is huge. This is absolutely huge. Normally, we come out, and he's like, it was fine. It was okay. Yeah, he does that. We came out, and you tell him what you said.
It wasn't that great.
He actually, but what else did you say?
It just feels like another Marvel movie.
He said it kind of felt like a lot of fan service.
Oh yeah.
I was just like, wait, you have an opinion about a movie? Because normally he's just like, it's all right, or it's fine. He never has strong opinions about a movie. When he said that, I was like, this is where we're gonna get some spoilers. I was like, well, yeah, because there's a scene in No Way Home when the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man says to the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, dude, you're amazing. No, really, you're amazing. You're amazing. And he says it like 2 or 3 times. It wasn't, I didn't think it was overly done, but I got the joke. I immediately started laughing because that's the joke. He was in The Amazing Spider-Man. He's never, I don't think he's ever seen it. And it came out before he was born. So and I explained to him, he knew, you tell him, you knew right away, right? He understood the joke right away. that's not necessarily the scene you were referring to, though. You meant the
It's just,
movie
like, in
overall.
general,
Yeah, he
it
meant the
felt
movie
like-
overall. For me, I was just like, oh!
Just didn't feel anything out of it.
I didn't. I mean, yes, there was a lot of fan service in it, but the movie was so much more than that to me, because like I would say for the first 20 minutes of the movie, we didn't see Doctor Strange at all.
No.
Yeah, for the first 20 minutes or so of the movie, not only did we not see Doctor Strange, but I completely forgot that Doctor Strange was in this movie. I had to remind myself, oh yeah, Doctor Strange is in this movie. We just haven't seen him yet. That's how well I thought this movie. Oh, and before I go much further on that, Doctor Strange isn't actually a very prominent figure in this movie. Yes, he's in the movie, but I would say like his bits in the trailer. There's a little more than that, but that's about the extent of his part in this movie. He wasn't a prominent character. But in those first 20 minutes, I was thinking to myself, so at least technically, Sony knocked this movie out of the park, because I was floored with the different camera angles. There's a scene when a car is being knocked off a bridge. I swear it felt like they had four cameras in the car, because we were looking at the passenger. Yeah, from the front we were looking at the passenger, and then from the side, and then I think from the back, and then like from outside in the front. I swear, like I said, I think they had at least 4 different camera angles, and I just thought to myself, and it wasn't jarring. Like, it felt like you were there and that you had all these different points of view. And I just thought to myself, wow, this is technically amazing shots. So I really loved that about this movie. There's also, I mean, I loved and I'm not that familiar with Electro or really any of the bad guys beyond what I've seen in the movies. And since I didn't see The Amazing Spider-Man, I'm not that familiar with all the bad guys, but I thought that they handled them really, really well. We also got, again, another spoiler, we get an Uncle Ben moment, but we get it from Aunt May. And we've never gotten that moment before in any of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. So it was kind of like, it was a good way to wrap up the trilogy and give the Tom Holland Spider-Man his Uncle Ben moment. Which, you got that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he got that. I'm not sure how much of the audience got it. I got it like right away.
Well, they have a scene where they tell you, it's like, oh yeah, it was my Uncle Ben for me. And it's like, me too. And it's like, for you, it's Aunt May, but you can't like the...
Oh, so you got it during the explanation?
Well, I'm just saying they explain it to you in the movie.
See, I think I kind of got that. I got it during the scene that you see when you see it happen to Aunt May. I got it at that point. And I will say that was a very sad scene. There was plenty of scenes. Okay, there's probably at least 2 scenes in this movie where I cried out of sadness, which I that's great. If a movie can have that effect on you, that's always great. There were other scenes where I cried, or at least I almost cried, out of happiness. There is a scene, I don't think it's in the trailer, where the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, he catches MJ.
Oh.
And that scene is like huge.
Yeah, because they're talking about it, how when he caught
No, when he didn't.
Well, he tried to catch.
When he tried to catch his MJ, and
she died from the snapback. When her web hit her, correct?
No, I think she fell.
Oh, she did?
See, again, we haven't seen The Amazing Spider-Man, but the Andrew Garfield, and this isn't a spoiler, and I don't even know exactly how the scene played out, but she dies. The Andrew Garfield MJ, she dies. So this was like his redemption. And I hadn't seen The Amazing Spider-Man, but you could feel that. Since I knew that he lost his MJ, you could feel that, and you got it from Andrew Garfield. He's an amazing actor. You got that sense from him, and it was just like, I think there was just a feeling of happiness from the crowd, and at least online, people were like, "Yes, that was such an amazing feeling to see him catch her," because they make Tom Holland miss her as she's falling, and Andrew Garfield catches her. It was such an amazing feeling, and he got his redemption. So he got closure on it. And let's see, is there anything else
with this? Well, in the movie in general, there's one scene, it's another spoiler, but Doctor Strange knocks Tom Holland's Spider-Man out of his body to get the box from him, and I assume it's his Spidey sense, but as he goes to grab the box, his arm just moves and moves, and he can't grab the box, and eventually Tom gets back into his body.
Oh, see, that's a theory I hadn't heard before. I've talked to somebody yesterday or a couple days ago, I don't remember where, but I thought it was you that told me. Did you notice that the little lines?
Oh yeah, I remember.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Okay,
there's
yeah.
like little lines off.
There's like little lines out of his head after Strange knocks him out of his body. It might be visible in the trailer. I don't know. I didn't notice it. But there's like these little lines to indicate his Spidey sense. So that's a cool neat little Easter egg, I would say. They had a lot of neat little Easter eggs in the movie. I'm trying to think of any. I can't come up with them right now, but there were. Oh, that's right. There's a scene with Electro at the end. He's no longer Electro anymore. He's been cured, which it was a way to make them not bad. I don't take away their powers. That way they can't be bad guys anymore. But he says there needs to be a black Spider-Man. And ordinarily I'd be like, oh, it's social justice warrior crap that, dude, come on, whatever, it's not a big deal. But this was clearly a reference to Miles Morales' Spider-Verse movie. It was clearly a reference to that. So I thought that was a good little Easter egg. If you've seen the Spider-Verse, then we got a little reference to it from that. So there was all kinds of little things like that. I'm trying to remember if there was any other one. Can you think of any other Easter eggs they might have?
Easter egg?
No, you can't think of any. Okay. There was. Oh, what else? We had some stuff with Doctor Strange. It was not. I will say it was nice. As someone, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. And you guys have seen, I've talked about that before. You've seen videos on this channel. I'm sure I've done some stuff, but my biggest worry when we had our Aunt May moment was that at the end of the movie, or by the end of the movie, since Doctor Strange was in this, that Doctor Strange would cast some kind of a spell that would undo everything and make everyone fine. Doctor Strange does cast a spell, but it's only to make everyone, and this was everyone. So this was actually a different spell from what happens in the beginning, but it makes everyone forget that Peter Parker, or forget about him entirely.
It's forget.
I don't think it was forget Peter Parker's Spider-Man.
It's just like forget.
It was forget Peter. Yeah, it was forget Peter Parker, and he even says it will make it become like you never existed.
Because everyone still remembers Spider-Man afterwards. They had a little news segment with them.
Right. Everyone still remembers Spider-Man. J. Jonah Jameson. Is that? Yeah, okay.
I think so.
Because he plays different characters, I think in DC and Marvel. He's talking about it at the end and how, we're going to find out who this Spider-Man guy is. But everyone has forgotten who Peter Parker is. Everyone. But this didn't undo anything that happened in the movie. He sent everyone back to their universes. It didn't undo the Aunt May moment. So she wasn't magically back. And the reason I reference Star Wars is because anyone who's seen Rise of Skywalker remembers that you saw Chewie die in that spaceship at some point in the movie, but less than 5 minutes later we got the reveal that Chewie wasn't actually dead. So that was my word. When I saw that, I was like, okay, I really hope, because I was, like I said, that scene made me cry, and I had really hoped, don't bring her back. Because if you do, I'm gonna be
They wouldn't be able to bring her back regardless, because Doctor Strange doesn't have the time stone anymore. Doesn't Wong have it, since he's like the Sorcerer Supreme?
I don't know who. Dr. Strange mentions that he's not the Sorcerer Supreme
Because he got blipped out.
because he got blipped out for 5 years. So it's Wong. In fact, you can check my reaction to the Doctor Strange 2 trailer. I mentioned that, asking, is he Sorcerer Supreme now? Well, we find out he's not. But yes, he does say that because when he first shows up in the movie, the Peter Parker, Tom Holland Spider-Man, asks him, "Can't you just go back in time and change it?" And he tells him, "No, I don't have the time stone." And that's when Peter knows. No. I think Peter, he's like, man, I just figured that since you guys knew magic, and that actually reminds Doctor Strange, again, these are spoilers, that there's a spell he can cast, and Wong warns him about it, and there's a little funny joke in there where Strange says, "We've done it for less," and then I think Wong looks at him funny, and he says, "Remember the party, the New Year's Eve party, something, something," and Wong says, "No," exactly. And he says, "Exactly," because clearly Strange has casted it before to make people forget things. So yeah, I mean, it had the acting superb. Cinematography was fantastic. Special effects were all great. It was really cool to see all these bad guys. And I think that was the only drawback that people pointed out when they saw the trailers, that it looked like Doc Ock was going to team up with Spider-Man. He did, but the reason he did, again, spoilers, the reason he did is because they were able to fix his chip, the chip that got broken in that first movie or second Spider-Man movie, that made it so that the arms took him over. They were able to fix that so that he was able to control the arms and he was no longer evil. So that's why he teamed up. And I wouldn't really call it a teaming up. It's just, I mean, he
just stopped them.
He stopped them and helped them out at the end. Really, the team up was the 3 Spider-Men coming into the one universe and working together to solve this problem, and get these guys fixed so they could be sent back to their universes. Because that was the great lesson. That was the Aunt May lesson. Aunt May didn't want, had to basically tell Peter, "No, we can't kill," because everybody else was like, "Oh, we're gonna kill him. We gotta kill him. We gotta kill him." Or no, not we gotta kill him. We gotta just send them back. To die. Dr. Strange was saying that's their fate. We gotta send them back to die. And Aunt May was like, no, we're not sending them back to die. We're going to cure them, and then we'll send them back. They don't have to die. So that was part of Aunt May's lessons in this movie. Do you have anything else that you wanted to add?
Well, as always, like, the Mirrorverse scenes are really cool, and they have one scene where they're in the Grand Canyon. I didn't realize this at first, but they tell you after, and Tom Holland Spider-Man basically traps him in a huge thing, and he just complains that he's stuck there for like 4 hours.
I think it was 24.
24.
Yeah, Tom Holland, they're in the mirror universe. Doctor Strange takes them into the mirror universe, and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange are fighting for a little while, and then since Tom Holland Spider-Man is supposed to be really good at math, he realizes that the mirror universe is just geometry, and he's like, "Oh, this is just geometry." So he figures things out really quickly and manages to trap Doctor Strange and escape the mirror universe. And then when Doctor Strange shows back up at the end, he comes out, and it's actually kind of a reference to Loki in, I think, one of the Avengers movies. He comes out and says, "I've been stuck in the Grand Canyon for 24 hours. I think that's what and it's actually clearly a reference to Loki saying, "I've been falling for 30 minutes." I also didn't get that it was supposed to be the Grand Canyon, because when he said it, I'm like, what's he talking about? Well, he was referencing the mirror universe that he was stuck in. He had actually started to bring mountains up to like make it so that Peter Parker couldn't just swing around the buildings and escape him. So yeah, that was a little funny moment there.
Also, do you think in the movie, another spoiler, Ned can open portals after they take Doctor Strange's I think it's called
They take his ring. I don't know what it's called, but Ned's got
Do you
his
think
ring
they're
on.
gonna like build on that at all? Like,
I've read some things online where they're like setting Ned up to be some kind of a bad guy. I've only read a few headlines because I was seeing we were a few days late going to see Spider-Man. I mean, clearly they were having problems selling tickets because there was such a mad rush to go see this movie. We went on Wednesday because we couldn't find what I would call even decent seats at any theater. I'm not gonna sit 3 feet from the screen and do this for 2 hours. So we had to find a theater that had seats set back so that we could be comfortable and see this. So yeah, I started to see some articles talking about how has Ned been set up, and I was just like scroll. I don't even want to know, or I didn't want to know at that time. Like Ned said, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. And actually, I think the day we went is when I started to see more and more articles about Spider-Man No Way, and they were spoilers, and I was just like, oh, it's getting harder to avoid spoilers. But it's been what, 2 weeks now since the movie came out. So I mean, if you're still trying to avoid spoilers, then obviously, hopefully, you're not watching this video. But I think it's one of those things. If you're trying to avoid spoilers until it comes out on DVD, then get off the internet because it's going to be really difficult. Do you have anything else that you want to add? So I don't think there was. I don't know if there's anything about Ned, but yeah, he was able to, and he doesn't just kind of pick up the ring and it works. He tells Doctor Strange that he had found out that there was magic in his family, that he was supposedly had some kind of latent abilities, and he just needed some training. He was trying to get Doctor Strange. He was trying to drop hints at Doctor Strange that he wanted to be taught how to use magic. Mm-hmm. So maybe there's something there that'll come out in phase 5, phase 6. Who knows? The actor's young, the character's young. Who knows where that might go? I don't know the comics. I don't necessarily try to dig too deep. Oh, and one last thing. This was an Easter egg. It's a spoiler, but it's also an Easter egg. After the Peter Parker is Spider-Man thing in the beginning of the movie is revealed. Can't remember all the details behind how this happens, but Aunt May and Peter and Happy, they're all in, I think, Aunt May's apartment, and Matt Murdoch is there.
Oh yeah,
Daredevil. So he shows up, and I was like, oh yay, because we heard that he might be, but there was never any confirmation. I think people said, oh, you can kind of see his arm, and maybe you couldn't see the stick. It was like, oh, that's probably him right there in the trailer, because you could see his arm or something. But yep, he's there. He shows up,
and they give you a little like kind of like a demonstration, I could say.
Oh,
someone throws a brick through the window and he catches it without looking.
They're talking and stuff, and then they actually might have been in a cafe, but they're talking about.
They're in an apartment.
Are they in? Okay, they're talking about stuff back and forth, and then a brick flies through the window, and he like reaches his arm back and just stops it. He actually catches it. So let's just say Peter's hand is here, Matt Murdoch's hand is here. Like that's how quickly they both reacted, but he grabs it, and Peter looks at him and is like, how'd you do that? And he just looks at him and says, I'm a good lawyer. But that was like if you could have just had the Easter egg there of him, and the fans would have gotten it. Most of the other viewers probably would not, but the fact that they had him catch that brick gives more of a hint that this is a guy who, because they had him with the glasses on, but this is a guy who has some kind of special abilities at the very least. So your average fan, or not fans, but probably average moviegoers, probably don't know who he is unless they've seen Daredevil on Netflix. But at least they got a taste of who is this guy. Like I said, I knew it right away. And I've seen another article come out that like he actually just said that he knew he was going to be in the MCU for years. So, so they've been talking to him for a while, and we will likely see Daredevil in the MCU at some point in the future because we've now got Matt Murdoch as a cameo / Easter egg in Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Yep.
So I think that's all we got for this review. So once again, I loved it. Best Spider-Man ever, and I don't mean best MCU movie. Or best Spider-Man ever. So for now, best Spider-Man ever. And he just thinks it was a big.
And not a flop. It's just like.
Wait, you're calling it a flop? Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't get to that.
No. I'm not calling it a flop. I'm just saying like all the Marvel.
He's marveled
movies...
out. That's what I meant by we didn't get to that. He's marveled out. He's seen enough Marvel movies in the years probably that he's kind of done with Marvel movies. You know,
every Marvel movie feels like so repetitive. Like the TV, like all the little mini series on Disney Plus, you'll find the What If was fine, but every single movie just feels like characters change, but like the way the movie goes is so repetitive.
They follow a formula, and he's getting tired. I actually have a friend who said the same thing when Black Widow came out. And you didn't like Black Widow?
Oh, because
Black Widow was all right. We're not going to get into that right now. I was just gonna point out that because yes, every MCU movie does follow a formula, and he even asked me, not him, my other friend, asked me at the time, "Aren't you tired of them? Don't they all look the same to you?" And I said, and I was like, "Yeah, kinda." And then I was pointing out where in the timeline some of the movies land, and he's like, "Wait, how do you keep track of it?" And I said, "Oh, I don't keep track of the details, but I can tell the major parts where, like, I'm like, oh, this part of Black Widow takes place before Captain America: Civil War, and this part takes place after Avengers or after Endgame, obviously, and then this part takes place here." And it's like I can't keep track down to like, oh, it took place right after this certain scene or at 1 hour and 23 minutes and 18 seconds into the movie. No, but I can tell, generally speaking, where these shows land within the timeline based on the references that they're making to each other. That's how I was able to figure out, because Black Widow essentially takes place over like the course of like 3 or 4 different movies because of the way that the sequences work. So yeah, I mean, I'm not tired of them because I like them. I like the references. I like most of them. I didn't like Shang-Chi. Again, that's not for this review. That's a completely different review. But I really liked Spider-Man. And he's marveled out.
Yep.
But you liked the movie in general. You're just marveled out.
Yeah.
Is that a fair thing to say? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all we got. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure and hit the subscribe button too. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you can get notified of future videos. If you have anything that you want to add in response to this video, make sure you comment below. And otherwise, we'll see you in the next one.